I'm Yuren. I'm presenting our work titled Apéritif, Scaffolding Preregistrations to Automatically Generate Analysis Code and Method Descriptions. In this talk, I'm going to show you some background of preregistration, or empirical formative study that motivates our design, the design goals for future preregistration, and our research prototype, Apéritif, and its user evaluation. First, preregistration is a practice of documenting a study's objective and analysis plan before observing its outcome. You can think of it as a time-stamped form that records your research plan before running your experiment. Popular platforms include As Predicted and Open Science Framework. Here is an example of As Predicted interface that includes sections such as hypothesis, variables, and analysis. Now, why do we need preregistration? It actually helps authors plan experiments before collecting data, helps the team reach a consensus, and avoid p-fishing, which is the tendency to pursue a p-value that is less than 0.05. The HCI community has been advocating preregistration recently through various workshops, special interest groups, and papers. In this work, we are curious how researchers are currently preregistering studies, specifically at CHI. To answer this, we ask 3 questions in our formative study. First, how prevalent is the preregistration? Second, is the information included in the preregistration sufficient to comprehend the research design? And is it consistent with the paper? Third, what are the motivations and challenges for the users? We answer the first 2 questions by analysis of the CHI conference proceedings from 2018 to 2021 by searching keywords related to preregistration. We answer this third question by a survey of 11 researchers at the Transparent Statistics Slack workspace. Here are some results. Of over 2,800 papers, only 38 included a total of 47 preregistrations. Out of the 38, 6 papers contain links to non-existent pages or empty documents. Therefore, our sample contains 32 papers and 47 preregistrations in total. Second, we found not all preregistered information is available in our sample. Some preregistration is not very comprehensible to support reproducibility, and some description in the paper deviated from the preregistration. For example, 43 analysis plans are available, 25 plans are comprehensible, 18 plans are consistent. Here are some examples that we labeled incomprehensible and inconsistent. When preregistering an analysis plan, one study said we will test if there is a significant difference without mentioning the exact method. Another study preregistered to recruit 120 participants, but only reported the actual sample size of 50. Third, a reformative study revealed key motivations. They include creating decision snapshot, communicating openly, limit excessive research flexibility, and refine specifics. Here is an example of an author to create decision snapshot and avoid research flexibility. We also identify some key challenges. For example, time and efforts. One participant said, if I have enough time to put in extra efforts to the study planning, I would do so, but sometimes it's not realistically possible. Other challenges include unclear standard for details and difficult to involve. After the formative study, we identified 4 design goals to reimagine preregistration practice. Scaffolding the preregistration template to elicit necessary and specific information. Integrating preregistration into the research process and connect it with the research artifacts. Tracking the evolution of a research plan. And reducing the time and efforts needed to complete a preregistration. Based on our formative study and design goals, we implemented Apéritif, a research prototype built on top of the As Predicted platform as a Chrome extension. We designed Apéritif to meet our design goals and test whether the new scaffolding approach would make users more likely to register in the future. To walk through Apéritif, suppose the research team wants to learn how Chrome versus Firefox affect users' performance when reading a long article. First, scaffolding. Apéritif expands the current form of the set of toolboxes, prompts users to disambiguate and operationalize research questions. For example, users input time, which is a ratio variable, as a proxy for users' performance. Likewise, the nominal independent variable browser, which include Firefox and Chrome. Apéritif also lets users specify the hypothesis with real-time statistical test recommendations, as well as visualization to identify sample size. It will generate an answer to the original question after users finish the toolbox. Second, integrating. In HCI, there are lots of research tools that help users with the research process, such as experimental design and deployment, a priori analysis, and statistical analysis. Apéritif used existing research tools to answer specific questions and improve the experience. We leveraged the TDSL to recommend statistical tests based on the user input. We were also inspired by Touchstone tool to visualize potential sample size and statistical power given the default effect size. Apéritif will update analysis code and method description at the same time, which can serve as an initial template that helps later stage of the research. Third, tracking. We leverage the GitHub API and allow users to commit preregistration, analysis code, and the method descriptions to their GitHub repository after they complete the preregistration. Lastly, Apéritif is also designed to reduce the time and efforts. To evaluate whether this is the case, we conducted a user evaluation. Participants registered 2 studies of similar complexity and write analysis code. The control condition used as predicted to preregister. The experimental condition used Apéritif. We followed up with the questionnaire and exit interview. We recruited 17 participants, 15 PhD students, and 2 undergraduate students. In our result, we found that people spend less time preregistering with Apéritif even for a very simple experiment. In the questionnaire, participants thought Apéritif reduced the efforts of the preregistration experience and made them more likely to preregister in the future. In the post-study interview, participants expressed that scaffolding approach enabled by Apéritif makes preregistration more usable, and generating research artifacts such as the code and the description is an alternative incentive for preregistration. Future work needs to extend Apéritif to more complex models under NHST and beyond NHST, such as Bayesian statistics. Future work needs to study deviations between papers and preregistrations in greater details. We allowed users to commit their artifacts to GitHub, but future work could evaluate these functions and potentially compare it with other version control systems, such as the new preregistration update functions in OSF, which is introduced recently. In addition to the tooling support, publication venues could provide more detailed expectations, potentially guided by our scaffolding approach. Ultimately, we hope that our work brings a different perspective and sparks new conversations on promoting preregistration and open science in the HCI community.